Our sponsor this month is Published, an affiliate of Village Voices. Published offers all author services from writing tips, critiques, manuscript evaluations, and editing, as well as tips to help you become published. If you prefer to self-publish, purchase the step-by-step book on publishing through Amazon, or purchase services a la carte, from formatting to creating custom covers, or even tips to gather endorsements. The staff is headed by 2 professional writers. After your books are published, either trade paper, electronically, or both, purchase marketing tips, web services, book trailers, or turn your book into an audiobook. Publish provides all your writing, publishing, and marketing needs. So give them a call at 941-748-6865. Contact them online at dgould497@aol.com, or go to the website at www.publishedavillagevoices.webs.com. Good afternoon. Welcome to Culture Coast. The intro you just heard was by Al Musitano. Today we're doing something a little bit different. I'm interviewing the director of the Sarasota County Film and Entertainment Commission, Jeanne Corcoran. As there's an enormous amount of information, this interview will be a 2-part interview. Be sure to schedule the second half next week at the same time, same channel, to hear the remainder of this informative and very interesting interview. So now, take it away. Hi, Jeanne. How are you?
Hi.
All right. First, tell me a little bit about the Sarasota Film Commission. When was it founded?
Well, it covers all of Sarasota County. Our actual name is Sarasota County Film and Entertainment Office. We do much more than just film. We work with all forms of media as well as live entertainment, everything from radio and television and commercials and music videos and student films and documentaries and travelogues. If you can name it, and it's a media production of any kind, we help them. And generally speaking, we don't charge anything for our services. We are a full-time, dedicated professional film commission that meets the standards of the Association of Film Commissioners International. So we meet the standards of the global organization that monitors, educates, and somewhat helps film commissions around the world be consistent in our quality of services. And we have been in existence since 2007. I was recruited back in February of 2007 and founded this office, created it from scratch. And we are dedicated to not only serving projects that come to the area to shoot, but we very proactively go out around the country and around the world to attract production, movies and TV shows, and anything we can get to come here that's not rated any greater than an R. We don't serve anything beyond an R rating. We are trying to bring them here to shoot their productions, create their content, and then also we're trying to, in our mandate as a film commission, grow our community resources. We want our production community to get bigger and better and broader. We want our people to be better skilled, better trained. So we do a lot of workforce development. We do a lot of mixers and networking events so that all of our production people and our professionals and semi-professionals that are in film and television and so forth can learn to work together, learn from each other, improve their resumes, improve their experience levels, and so forth. And then we work with government. We work intergovernmentally throughout the county to improve incentives, to attract projects through different incentive programs that make us competitive statewide, help bring projects here that otherwise might not come to our side of the state. Without incentives, we might lose a percentage of smaller business that would just automatically go to Orlando or go to Miami, because those are the big names for the state. So we have to be more competitive. We're smaller, we're not as well known, we're not as big or as...
You're not as big as Tampa. Do they have a fair-sized film commission as well?
Well, Tampa just recently reinvigorated their film commission. They didn't have a film commission at all for about 3 or 4 years. And they recently hired a professional full-time film commissioner, Dale Gordon. She's a great gal, and she's experienced. She was with the Orlando Film Commission for a time. So now they're gearing up, and they're going to get back into the mainstream of it all, get back into being competitive and trying to attract production.
So they had it at one time, and then the economy went south and they stopped?
Well, they had it at one time, and I think their film commissioner was Krista Sorokin, who was really talented, and she went to follow a dream. She wanted to work on sports media, Super Bowl, that kind of a thing, and she resigned and went off to kind of see the world and pursue her other goals, and it lay dormant for a while. They just didn't fill that position. They had a young lady, also very competent, who was Krista's assistant, and she stepped into that role for a time as the acting film commissioner for them. But the budget wasn't there, and the economy was struggling, and it was just one of those rock against a hard place sort of situations, especially with the economy being what it was. So their young lady, Lindsay was her name, she went on to accept a better, more lucrative position, and it left that
opening, and they didn't bother filling it until just recently.
Well, they needed to really sit back and reassess and figure out what they wanted and what their budget was and what they wanted to commit to. And now they're moving forward with Dale in that position, and I know they're going to give it their best.
Why did they come to you to start the film commission here? Have you done this somewhere else before?
I have. I actually have. Sarasota County decided to do a full-time round-the-clock, 24/7 kind of a professional film commission, and they did a recruitment. They put the word out through the Association of Film Commissioners International. They had about 58 candidates that applied, and they narrowed it down to 3 of us, and they brought the 3 of us in at different times for interviews and one-on-one meetings with our potential board of advisors, as well as members of the entertainment community locally. And anyway, I was very fortunate, very happy to be chosen as the one of the 3.
Now, you are local, weren't you?
I grew up here when I was young. I grew up here and lived here, went to Cardinal Mooney High School, went to University of South Florida when they had the Conservatory for Film and Motion Pictures and Recording Arts. But I moved away in 1992 and moved to Las Vegas, Nevada, strangest place on earth. And I was actually, by that time, I was working full-time in film, television, video as a writer-producer. So my background was writing, producing, and being a creative director for commercials and TV shows and indie films and whatever our agency.
So you were in Las Vegas when they recruited you to come back to your hometown?
Right. I was in Las Vegas, and I actually got a call from the Association of Film Commissioners International, and their director of membership called me up, and she said, there's this opening that you might be interested in, a great area, beautiful town, a county position. I was with the state film office at that point in Nevada, headquartered in Las Vegas. And she said, I know that you kind of want to get out of the desert, and I heard about this, I thought I'd tell you about it, and you can apply. And she's giving me this big sales pitch, and she said, now it's not a state job, it's just a county film commission, but it's really pretty. And I said, Sue, just cut through the sales pitch and tell me, where is it? And I thought she's going to say, podunk nowhere. And she said, oh, it's this beautiful little county in Florida called Sarasota County. And I said, do you know I'm from there? And she had no idea. So it was kismet. It was really kismet to come home. And I applied. I just threw my hat in the ring with the other 57 people. And they narrowed it down and flew us out and interviewed us all. And the last day of my interviewing process, my last meeting at the end of the day after having met, probably 19 people at that point, one of the last questions I was asked by this group of people that were interviewing me was, how long do you think it would take you to understand our community and get up to speed? You know, how big a learning curve would it need, and how long would it take you? And I looked at them, and I looked at my watch, and I said, about 15 minutes. Do you know I'm from here? And they had no idea. So it was funny. It was, it was like a
that was
moment.
definitely a big plus and bonus for you to be from here, so that you already knew all the beautiful places that we have.
Right. And although I had been gone at that point, I'd been gone 15 years.
Not that much has changed.
Well, it's changed in great ways. When I left, the reason I left in 1992 is because the economy was very depressed at that point.
I remember that.
Right after the late 80s, from like 89 to 91, 92, we were in a bit of a recession.
The construction trades especially had a falling down, and that affects everything in Florida.
And there was a lot of discussion at that point about putting on building moratoriums, and oh my goodness, it just was not a place for a young woman and her husband that had little children. So we had little guys, and we knew that we had to provide for their future and their education, and the job opportunities at that point out on the West Coast, especially in Nevada, were booming.
Now, what does your husband do that you were able to both transfer?
He's an electronics technician.
Okay.
So first we went out for a vacation. We had friends who lived in Las Vegas, and they said, the market out here, the job market is fantastic, and you need to come out and take a look at it, and people like you that have job skills, you have very specific skill sets, you're so in demand. They said there were, a zillion people that had minimum wage kind of skills that worked in domestic work and housekeeping and so forth, which are all really important
and in the
Las
casinos
Vegas.
And stuff. Yeah,
and they're very valuable, very important people. But what they didn't have a lot of out there were people that had specific tech skills or high skills or high-end, kind of white-collar or gray-collar professional skills. So we went out on vacation and just as a lark put out a couple of resumes, and we got there Sunday night and had fun with our friends for a day, and then we went on a couple of job interviews, and we both got offers.
Oh, wow.
And they were great offers, and here we were looking at struggling here financially or making a big move and providing.
And both of you had great offers.
Yes,
so
we both had great offers. And I actually went into film and television out there before I went into government. So for 5 years, I was creating from concept to completion, everything from TV commercials and infomercials.
Which gave you that much more experience
Sure.
for the government side of it,
Right.
to know how to deal with those people because they were you.
Right. And I probably would have stayed in the field forever, except we did have little children. And anyone that's worked in the profession of film and television knows that what comes with the territory are 12-hour days and 16-hour days and 14-hour days. And when you've got two little ones at home, it just was too challenging to my family for me to be working that kind of schedule. So I got to thinking, what can I do with the skills that I have? And I realized, hey, if anyone knows how to serve this industry well and what it needs, I do, because I've been doing this now.
How did you make that connection in your head, though? I know you're looking for a job, but to even think about the government side of it seems a little outside of the box.
Sure. Well, productions, any kind of a production that you're doing, whether you're making a TV commercial or you're doing an independent film, whatever you're doing, most really competent productions, they know to reach out to a film commission wherever they're at, because film commissions exist. There are probably 350 of them around the country, around the globe, actually. And if you need to know about permits, or you need to know about permissions, or you need to know about clearances, or crew, or cast, or equipment, or rentals, whatever it is you need, if a production has any smarts, they reach out to a local film office, and the film office will tell them what they need to know and where to get it, and save them a lot of time, and save them money, and save them effort. And at that point, I had been doing film and television work from about 1984, 1985. So 8 years. It was 92 by then. And I worked, 5 more years out in Las Vegas doing it, and I discovered that there really wasn't a lot of help, that they didn't quite have a well-mobilized film commission out there. And ironically, the state of Nevada decided at that point in time, around 97, to renovate their film office. And they brought in a professional director, Charlie Giacaris from Chicago, who was just as sharp as they come. And Charlie decided he was going to create a really dynamic, powerful film office. And he hired me. So it just was, again, kismet. I'm a great believer in the blessings that we're showered with, that we don't see them coming until they arrive. And I had reached exhaustion in the private sector, working long days, and I thought, gosh, I've got to find another way.
And that was the perfect fit.
And that was the perfect fit. And someone that I knew mentioned the fact that they were changing over the film commission statewide for Nevada, and everyone was very excited because they were bringing in this new director from Chicago. So I connected with him, and we talked, and he said, "When can you start?" And I went, "Well, let me give a couple weeks notice, and I'll be right out."
Yeah, I got to finish the projects I'm on, and that's it.
So I ended up being with the Nevada Film Office for 10 years. I was there for a decade. And then I got just burned out on being in the desert. And by then the kids were...
I don't blame you. No. It's so...
hot, dry, congested.
And not colorful like here. No. I mean, if you're from here, our colors are so vivid and deep. And every time I see the desert, I'm like, how can anybody go from here to there?
Well, everything has its own beauty. And to give Nevada its proper respect, we love outdoor things. And we're motorcycle riders, and to ride in the desert, in the Valley of Fire, and Red Rock, and Grand Canyon, and Zion National Park, and Bryan Head, and places like that are truly beautiful. And the desert has its own gorgeous, austere quality, but you can only take so many years of living in heat that year-round seems to be somewhere between 90 and 120. It's so dry, it's so hot. And
then you come here for the humidity where you just...
can't breathe. The first time I came home after I'd been out there for a few years, came home for a class reunion with my husband, and we got off the plane at 6 a.m. in Tampa.
And it was humid.
And sat outside to wait for our pickup, our car, and we couldn't breathe. It was so humid we couldn't adapt. It was very strange, having been in the desert at that point 5 or 6 years. And then when I came back, I had a whole new appreciation, though, for humidity. Now I like it.
It's good for your skin.
It's good for your skin.
It's great for your skin.
Great for your skin.
All right. So the purpose of your Sarasota Film Commission, what you've mentioned part of what it is.
Well,
but what is the what do they call it? The goal, the purpose,
the mission,
the mission statement.
The vision. Yes,
the mission statement.
Well, our mission is to help grow the economy, obviously, and create jobs. The bottom line is all about growing the local economy, driving a lot of revenue streams, alternative revenue streams into the community, and also developing the workforce. It's all about jobs, and it's all about economic vitality. And we are Sarasota County traditionally has its legacy industries of tourism, real estate, and construction.
Circus.
Yeah, circus too. But a lot of circus bases here and goes elsewhere. What we have that's always resident here that drives our economy has always been primarily tourism, real estate, and construction. And a lot of communities nationwide over the last 10 years in particular have seen they've got to diversify their revenue streams. You have to respect your legacy industries and support them and continue to grow them, but you also have to give them some safety valves. They've got to have some other revenue streams to fall back on.
In case something like what happened in 2006, 2007 happens.
And 2008, which was just devastating.
It nobody was working.
Right. So now Sarasota County has pretty visionary leadership. I think that our county commissioners have been fantastic in seeing the handwriting on the wall in a lot of different ways. And in fact, our CEO for Economic Development, Mark Huey, just did an article in the paper probably within the last 2 weeks about how government has to adapt when the economy is good and how they have to adapt when the economy is bad. And when the economy is very bad, you have to get, from a governmental standpoint, a lot more aggressive. You have to come up with incentives. You have to come up with special programs. You've got to go out and fight the competition harder with more attractive programs and incentives to draw business and to keep business. And when the economy is good and everybody's, a fat cat and just rolling in prosperity, then you can relax a little and you don't have to put out so many incentives or so many programs or try so hard. But it's not...
It's a balancing act.
It is a balancing act. And when economies have a roller coaster ride like we've had the last 10 or 12 years, you have to be always on the top of the game of adapting, kind of like the dinosaurs. If you don't adapt, you're going to die. So I think our community has done a good job of adapting.
What association does the Sarasota Film Festival
have with us?
Have with you?
Well, they are a separate entity. They are their own completely self-contained organization, and we're big supporters of them, as are most organizations in the county. So we're big supporters of what they do, and we participate and have some sponsorship activity with them and so on. But they are self-contained, standalone organization, and I like to compare, people say, how do we fit together with them? And we don't really fit together. What we are is we're like an Oreo cookie, and the industry's in the middle between us, because a film commission, what we do is work with projects before they're ever made. We work with them in development and in conception and in pre-production and in production while they're shooting. We want them to come here, make their content here, make their movie, their TV show, create it here and spend their money here and hire our locals here and create their content. And then a film festival are on the other side of the Oreo cookie. They want to showcase the finished product. They want to show the films. They want to help the filmmakers get a deal for distribution, maybe get picked up by an organization that will
But they're taking films from worldwide, not
right.
just local Sarasota type films.
Right, exactly. So the industry is sandwiched between us. So we're on this side of, we want to get to the project before it's ever made. While it's in development, we want them to be looking at us and come do it here. And then the film festival is saying, okay, let's take the best of the best that have been made and let's show it and showcase it and drive a lot of economic vitality into the community by having a film festival. So we both serve the same industry, but we're on different sides of the process.
Now, what about the Sarasota TV Me, which is part of your
film commission? Right.
We
created.
Okay.
It's a it's a competition. And back when I got here in 2007, I had run the state of Nevada's screenwriting competition, their screenplay competition, for 10 years. And it is the oldest state-sponsored screenplay competition of its kind. And in that competition, we got, a couple hundred entries from around the world every year, and they were full-length feature film screenplays, 130 pages, and they required dozens of judges, and it was a very cumbersome program, but it was your basic standard screenplay competition. They came in, we got judges, the judges judged them, we chose winners, and so forth. And I wanted to do a contest of some sort here to give creative people a chance to let their voice be heard, but I didn't want to go to something as elaborate and as labor-intensive as a full-blown screenplay competition. So I thought, well, why don't we take a look at this from a new angle and come up with something streamlined, that's simplified, that more people can participate in, that would otherwise be intimidated by a screenplay competition, because that's a unique format, is a unique animal, and you have to know how to do a 130-page formatted screenplay. So I thought, what about a pitch contest? Great people have great ideas. They may not know how to put them into screenplay format or put them into a teleplay format or even put them into a novel format, but they've got a great concept, a great idea they want to share and see if anybody's interested. So we created TV Me as a pitch contest.
And that's been how many years now?
3. This would be year 4. And right now in year 4, because everything gets stale over time, right now for year 4, we are renovating it. We're taking some new approaches as to how to do it in a more exciting manner and introduce some new elements and introduce some new benefits to people that would enter. So right now we're in the process of remodeling it.
And that's a wrap for this week. We will continue with Jeanne Corcoran again next week to learn the direction she anticipates the Sarasota Film and Entertainment Commission will be taking over the next few years. Thank you for joining us on Culture Coast.
Nightmares. Frightful visions during the night, causing terror and loss of sleep. Daymares. Frightful visions during the day, causing fear and paranoia. Gothmares. Gothic visions that can happen anytime, causing horror and disgust. But sometimes they offer answers. Read Gothmares if you dare. Gothmares, a young adult novel by Al Musitano, available on Amazon and fine bookstores everywhere.
Village Voices in downtown Bradenton, Florida, the largest artist colony in the state. 42 acres of artist homes, galleries, and restaurants feature handcrafted gifts, fine art sculptures, painting, enviro art, healing arts, mystics, and musical mayhem, lifting this once mediocre neighborhood into the crown jewel of the city of Bradenton. A few of the featured galleries are unique in their offerings. The Village of the Arts includes Village Voices, a book gallery for Florida authors only. The Village Mystic, offering all things metaphysical from meditation, massage, aromatherapy, mediums, psychics, shamans, Reiki healing, and much more. The Dancing Crane Gallery exhibits fine art and custom jewelry. Heart's Desire is a fashion boutique showcasing local and national fashion designers. 5 restaurants to please your palate offer everything from Sicilian delights, healthy gourmet salads, sandwiches, and specialties. Down-home dining, baking sweets from wedding cakes to cookies, and the newest edition offering rustic breads and New York exclusives created by Chef Jim Copening. Musicians abound, playing everything, jazz, blues, folk, and rocks as you stroll the avenues enjoying the twinkling lights during the First Friday art walks or at the Second Friday New Age events on 10th Ave West. For more information, directions, or days and hours of operation, please visit their website at www.villageofthearts.com.